Imagine a story whispered across 2,000 years. It's a message not written in a book or carved in stone, but encoded in bronze gears and hidden dials. This is the story of the Antikythera Mechanism, an object so advanced, so out of place, that it challenges everything we thought we knew about the ancient world. For centuries, it lay silent at the bottom of the sea, a forgotten relic of a lost technological genius. It waited patiently, in the dark, holding its secrets close. When it was finally brought into the light, it presented a puzzle that would take more than a century to solve. This ancient device is a whisper from the past, telling us that our ancestors were more brilliant than we ever dared to imagine. This machine is, in essence, an ancient analog computer. It was a mechanical model of the cosmos, designed to track the heavens as the ancient Greeks understood them. It was built long before the invention of modern clocks, long before the first computers of the 20th century. Its existence is like finding a jet engine in a Roman ruin. It forces us to ask incredible questions. Who could have possibly conceived of such a complex machine? What knowledge did they possess that was lost to history for over a millennium? The Antikythera Mechanism is not just an artifact, it is a testament to human curiosity and the timeless quest to understand our place in the universe. It represents a peak of scientific achievement that would not be reached again for a very, very long time. The mystery begins with its journey. It was a passenger on a Roman merchant ship, a vessel filled with treasures plundered from Greece. This ship was sailing to Rome, carrying magnificent bronze and marble statues, fine pottery and other luxuries destined for a wealthy patron. But a violent storm struck near the small island of Antikythera, casting the ship and its precious cargo into the abyss. There it remained, a time capsule of antiquity, its contents preserved by the cold, dark waters. The ship, the crew, and the treasures were all lost to memory, vanishing from the pages of history. For 2,000 years, the waves rolled on, completely unaware of the scientific marvel sleeping below. But the story doesn't end in the watery depths. It was destined for a second chapter, one of rediscovery and wonder. This is where modern science meets ancient history, a point where divers, archaeologists, and physicists would come together to resurrect a forgotten masterpiece. The tale of the Antikythera Mechanism is a journey through time, connecting the minds of ancient Greek astronomers to the high-tech laboratories of the 21st century. It's a story about how we piece together the past, using every tool at our disposal to listen to the faint echoes of forgotten brilliance. It reminds us that history is not a closed book, it is an ongoing investigation, with new discoveries waiting just beneath the surface. Our story of rediscovery begins around the year 1900 on the Greek island of Symi. A team of sponge divers led by Captain Dimitrios Kontos was forced by a fierce storm to take shelter near the remote island of Antikythera. When the weather cleared, one of the divers, Elias Stadiatis, decided to explore the seafloor in this new, uncharted area. He descended into the blue, searching for sponges, but what he found was something far more startling. As he explored the seabed, he saw something that made him quickly signal to be pulled back to the surface. He was pale and shaken, babbling about a horrifying sight. A heap of naked, rotting corpses, both human and horse, scattered across the ocean floor. The captain, thinking the diver had become delirious from the pressure of the deep water, decided to investigate for himself. He put on the heavy diving suit and descended to the same spot. He too saw the ghostly figures, but he realized they were not bodies at all. They were statues, masterpieces of bronze and marble, turned green and white by the centuries spent underwater. Stadiatis had stumbled upon an ancient shipwreck, a treasure trove from the classical world. The corpses were the magnificent cargo of a ship that had met its end 2 millennia ago. The crew knew at once that they had found something of immense importance, something that belonged not to them, but to the history of their country. With great excitement, the sponge divers reported their incredible find to the Greek government. An official salvage operation was quickly organized, the first major underwater archaeological expedition in history. For nearly a year, from 1900 to 1901, these brave divers worked in perilous conditions. Using the simple, cumbersome diving equipment of the time, they descended over and over again to the wreck site. Located about 55 meters deep, they battled the cold, the darkness, and the dangers of decompression sickness to recover the largest collection of Greek artifacts ever found. They brought up stunning bronze statues, including the famous philosopher of Antikythera, marble sculptures, glassware, and pottery. Among the priceless statues and beautiful amphorae, they also recovered a few seemingly unremarkable lumps of corroded bronze. They looked like weathered rocks fused together by their long submersion in the salt water. No one paid them much attention at first. They were set aside with other less glamorous finds and transported to the National Archaeological Museum in Athens. There, amidst the glorious art that had been rescued from the sea, one of these lumps sat, drying out. It was a forgotten piece of the puzzle, an ugly duckling among swans. Little did anyone know that this unassuming clump of metal held a secret far more astonishing than any statue. It was the key to a lost world of ancient technology. For months, the corroded bronze lump sat in the museum, ignored. Its true nature was completely hidden beneath layers of calcification and decay. Then, on a day in May 1902, something unexpected happened. As the lump continued to dry out, the internal stresses caused it to crack and split apart. A museum staff member noticed the fracture and looked closer. Inside the broken rock-like object, he saw something that should not have been there. He saw the unmistakable circular shape of a gear wheel. Etched into the surface were faint lines and symbols. It was immediately clear that this was no mere lump of metal. It was a machine. The discovery sent a ripple of confusion and excitement through the archaeological community. An archaeologist named Valerio Stais was the first to study it closely. He saw not just one gear, but a complex system of interlocking wheels and plates. He also identified finely inscribed Greek letters, too small to be read easily with the naked eye. Stais made a bold suggestion. He proposed that the object was some kind of astronomical clock. This idea was met with disbelief from many of his peers. The prevailing view was that creating such intricate gear trains was far beyond the capabilities of ancient Greek engineers. They thought it must be a more modern object that somehow ended up with the ancient artifacts. The object, now known as the Antikythera Mechanism, was a mess. It had broken into 82 separate fragments. The largest piece was about the size of a large book, but the entire device was a three-dimensional puzzle shattered by time and pressure. The gears were paper-thin in some places, and the inscriptions were barely visible. It looked like a fossilized clock, its delicate inner workings frozen in a state of decay. The front of the device featured a large dial, while the back had two spiral-shaped dials. It was all housed in what was left of a wooden case, which had mostly rotted away. A handle on the side suggested it was operated by hand. Despite the initial skepticism, a few dedicated researchers refused to dismiss the object. Albert Rehm, a German philologist, was one of the first to make a breakthrough. He managed to decipher some of the inscriptions, identifying the Greek names for Egyptian months. This clue suggested the device was used to track a calendar year. He also recognized technical terms related to astronomy. It was becoming clearer that this machine was indeed astronomical in nature. However, the technology was just too advanced. It was a paradox. The craftsmanship pointed to the ancient Greeks, but the science seemed to belong to a much later era. The mystery of the mechanism had only deepened. So, what exactly was this incredible machine designed to do? After decades of painstaking research, we now know that the Antikythera Mechanism was a portable, hand-cranked model of the universe. It was an astronomical calculator of breathtaking complexity. By turning a small knob on its side, a user could set it to any date, past or future. The mechanism would then display the state of the heavens for that specific day. It was a window into time, showing the cosmic dance as understood by the greatest minds of ancient Greece. It wasn't just a display piece, it was a functioning scientific instrument that made complex astronomical calculations automatically. On the front of the mechanism was a large single dial that acted as the main display. This dial showed the position of the sun and the moon against the backdrop of the zodiac constellations. The sun pointer would move around the circle once per year, while the moon pointer would complete the circuit once per month. Even more impressively, the moon pointer was designed to speed up and slow down to mimic the moon's elliptical orbit around the Earth, a subtle variation that Greek astronomers had observed. This front dial also had a calendar ring showing the 365 days of the Egyptian year, a standard calendar used by astronomers of the time. It was a complete sky map for any given day. The back of the device was even more ingenious. It featured two large spiral dials, which looked like elegant, coiling pathways. The upper spiral was a calendar called the Metonic cycle. This was a 19-year cycle that helped align the solar year with the lunar months, a crucial tool for creating accurate calendars. A smaller dial within this spiral tracked the timing of the Pan-Hellenic Games, including the famous Olympic Games, which occurred every 4 years. This shows the device was not just for astronomers but also had a place in the cultural and social life of the time. It connected the heavens with human events on Earth. The lower spiral on the back was perhaps the most remarkable feature of all. It was an eclipse predictor. This dial tracked another important astronomical pattern known as the Saros cycle, a period of approximately 18 years, 11 days, and 8 hours, after which the Sun, Earth, and Moon returned to nearly the same relative geometry. By following this cycle, the mechanism could predict the month, day, and even the hour of upcoming solar and lunar eclipses. It would also indicate whether the eclipse would be visible. Imagine, 2,000 years ago, holding a device in your hands that could tell you when the sun would vanish from the sky. It must have seemed like magic. Solving the puzzle of the Antikythera mechanism was, honestly, a monumental task that spanned over a century and involved experts from many different fields. The first major step forward after the initial discovery came in the 1950s. A science historian from Yale University named Derek de Solla Price became fascinated by the device. He dedicated years to studying the fragments. In 1959, he used a new technology called gamma radiography, which is a form of X-ray, to peer inside the corroded chunks of bronze. For the first time, he was able to see the hidden layers of gears and actually count their teeth. His work revealed a sophisticated system of differential gears, a technology that, well, was thought to have been invented in the 16th century. Price published his findings in a groundbreaking 1974 article, calling the mechanism a calendar computer. He created the first detailed model of how he thought the gear trains worked. While his model wasn't entirely correct, his research laid the essential groundwork for everything that followed. He was the one who firmly established that the device was a product of ancient Greek science, and that it was thousands of years ahead of its time. He brought the mechanism out of obscurity and into the spotlight of scientific history, proving that the skeptics had been wrong. The ancient Greeks really did build this masterpiece. The next leap forward came in the late 20th and early 21st centuries, with the advent of even more powerful imaging technology. A collaboration called the Antikythera Mechanism Research Project was formed, bringing together scientists from Greece, the UK, and the USA. They used custom-built, high-resolution, three-dimensional X-ray scanning equipment to create a complete digital model of the fragments. This technology allowed them to see every single gear tooth, every hidden pin, and every faint inscription with astonishing clarity. They were able to virtually dissect the machine layer by layer without ever touching the fragile original pieces. This was, honestly, a game-changer for the investigation. This advanced scanning revealed thousands of characters of text that had been hidden inside the mechanism for 2 millennia. These inscriptions were like a user manual, written on the machine itself. They described the movements of the cosmos and explained what the user was seeing on the dials. Led by researchers like Tony Freeth and Mike Edmonds, the team was able to use this new information, combined with the gear counts and astronomical knowledge, to solve the puzzle. In 2021, they published a comprehensive model that explained the gearing for the entire cosmic system, including how the device tracked the complex movements of all 5 planets known to the ancients. After a century of work, the secret of the cosmos in a box was finally revealed. At its heart, the Antikythera mechanism was a clockwork universe. It was driven by a complex system of at least 30, and possibly many more, precision-cut bronze gears. When a person turned the hand crank on the side, all of these gears would begin to turn in a carefully orchestrated dance. Each gear was designed with a specific number of teeth to create the correct mathematical ratios needed to model the movements of celestial bodies. For example, the gear train for the moon had to replicate its monthly cycle, while the gears for the sun had to model the 365-day year. All of this was interconnected within a box no bigger than a modern laptop. The true genius of the mechanism lies in how it modeled the irregular movements of the planets and the moon. Ancient astronomers knew that the planets didn't just move smoothly across the sky. Sometimes, they appeared to slow down, stop, and even move backward for a short time, before continuing forward again. This is called apparent retrograde motion. To the Greeks, who believed the Earth was the center of the universe, this was a huge puzzle. They explained it using a complex theory of epicycles, small circles upon which the planets moved, which in turn moved along larger circles around the Earth. Recreating this complex motion with gears is an incredibly difficult engineering challenge. The makers of the Antikythera mechanism solved this problem with a brilliant innovation. They used a system known as a pin and slot mechanism. Inside the gear train for a planet, one gear would have a pin attached to it, and this pin would slide within a slot on another gear. This caused the second gear to speed up and slow down at different points in its rotation. By carefully calculating the shapes of the gears and the placement of the pins and slots, the ancient engineers could precisely mimic the variable speeds of the planets as they appeared from Earth. This level of mechanical sophistication was thought to be impossible for antiquity, and would not be seen again in clockmaking until the great cathedral clocks of the late Middle Ages. Furthermore, the device used a differential gear train to calculate the phases of the moon. A differential is a special set of gears that can add or subtract two different rotational inputs. In this case, it took the motion of the sun and the motion of the moon, and subtracted one from the other. The result was a new rotation that showed the synodic month, the time from one new moon to the next. This rotation drove a small, half-silvered ball that displayed the current phase of the moon. This is the same basic principle used in the differential of a modern car's transmission. Finding it in a 2,000-year-old device was simply mind-blowing for historians of technology. To truly appreciate the Antikythera mechanism, we have to place it in its historical context. This device was likely built sometime in the 2nd century BCE. At that time, the Roman Republic was expanding, the Great Wall of China was being built, and the most advanced technology generally available involved things like aqueducts, catapults, and water mills. While these are impressive feats of engineering, they are simple in comparison to the miniaturized, precision gearing of the mechanism. Nothing else from that era, or for a very long time after, even comes close to its level of complexity. It is an artifact that seems to have fallen out of time. After the fall of the Roman Empire, much of the advanced scientific knowledge of the ancient Greeks was lost to Western Europe. The craft of making complex gear trains vanished. It wasn't until the 14th century in Europe that we see the development of the first mechanical astronomical clocks. These were massive iron clocks built for cathedrals like the one designed by Giovanni da Dondi in Italy. While these clocks were magnificent achievements, their technology was, in some ways, less sophisticated than the compact portable device from Antikythera. The Antikythera mechanism was more than 1,000 years ahead of these medieval marvels. The level of miniaturization is what truly sets the mechanism apart. Its gears were cut from thin bronze sheets, some with teeth only a millimeter long. The entire intricate cosmos was packed into a small wooden box. This suggests a tradition of fine instrument making that has been completely lost to the archaeological record. The Antikythera mechanism could not have been a one-of-a-kind invention. It must have been the product of a school of thought, the culmination of generations of knowledge. The ancient Roman writer Cicero even mentioned a similar device, built by the great inventor Archimedes, which could show the motions of the sun, moon, and planets. That device is lost, but the mention of it suggests the Antikythera mechanism was not an anomaly, but a survivor. So why were experts so surprised? Because our view of the ancient world was incomplete. We saw their great architecture, their philosophy, and their art, but we had no evidence of this level of high-tech mechanical engineering. It's as if a chapter was ripped out of our history books. The mechanism fills in that missing chapter, showing us that the ancient Greeks were not only profound thinkers, but also master craftsmen and brilliant engineers. They had the ability to turn their advanced astronomical theories into a working physical reality. The device is a humbling reminder that we should never underestimate the ingenuity of the past. One of the biggest mysteries about the Antikythera mechanism is who made it and what it was used for. The device itself gives us some clues. The words written on it are in Greek, and the ideas about space and planets that it shows are clearly from Greek thinkers. The stuff found on the sunken ship suggests it was going to Rome, maybe as a fancy prize or a gift for a rich Roman who loved Greek science and thinking. This device was super expensive to make. It needed a master craftsman with special skills. This wasn't just any tool, it was a special item, a masterpiece for the richest people of the ancient world. There are a few ideas about why it was made. One idea is that it was a teaching tool. A philosopher or astronomer might have used it to show students how the universe works. Imagine a teacher turning a handle and showing how planets move, how eclipses happen, and how different calendars line up. It would have been a powerful and exciting way to learn. Another idea is that it was a fancy item for a rich person, a way to show off their money, smarts, and how much they knew about the world. Owning a tiny mechanical universe would have been the best thing to talk about at any party. A more interesting idea is that the mechanism was used for astrology. Back then, astronomy, the study of stars and planets, and astrology, believing stars affect our lives, were very connected. People thought the positions of planets when someone was born were very important for their future. A device that could accurately figure out where the stars and planets would be on any date would have been super useful for making horoscopes. The words on the mechanism even mention the color of upcoming eclipses, which people thought was a sign of what was to come. This makes us think the device wasn't just for science, but also for telling the future. While we might never know the name of the smart person who designed it, some experts think it might have come from a workshop on the island of Rhodes. Rhodes was a big center for studying stars and building things in the 2nd century BCE. The famous astronomer Hipparchus, who figured out how the Earth's axis slowly changes direction and had ideas about how the moon moves, worked there. It's possible the mechanism was built by people who followed his ideas, or maybe even influenced by his work. The shipwreck happened on a common trade route from the eastern Mediterranean to Rome, which fits perfectly with it coming from Rhodes. The person who created it remains unknown, but their amazing work lives on in this bronze device. The Antikythera Mechanism is more than just an old machine. It is a profound symbol of human intellect. It stands as a testament to a level of scientific and technical achievement that was lost for over 1,500 years. Its rediscovery and the long journey to understand it have fundamentally reshaped our perception of the ancient world. It proves that our history is not a simple linear progression from primitive to advanced. Instead, there were incredible peaks of innovation, followed by long periods where that knowledge was forgotten. The mechanism is the voice of one of those peaks, calling out to us across the centuries. Its importance lies in what it represents, the timeless human drive to explore and understand. The same curiosity that led an ancient Greek astronomer to model the heavens in bronze is the same curiosity that drives us today to send probes to Mars and build telescopes that can peer back to the dawn of time. The tools have changed, evolving from gears and dials to silicon chips and digital code, but the fundamental quest remains the same. The Antikythera Mechanism is the oldest known ancestor of the modern computer, the first step on a long road that led to the device you are using to read this right now. The story of the mechanism also teaches us a valuable lesson about history and archaeology. It shows us that there are still incredible secrets buried beneath the earth and under the sea, waiting to be discovered. It reminds us that our picture of the past is always incomplete and can be changed in an instant by a single discovery. The divers who found the wreck were looking for sponges, but they found a lost chapter of human history. It encourages us to keep looking, to keep exploring, and to remain open to discoveries that challenge our assumptions. Who knows what other impossible artifacts are still out there? Ultimately, the Antikythera Mechanism is a source of inspiration. It is a monument to a forgotten genius, an anonymous inventor who managed to build a working model of the cosmos. It bridges the gap between ancient philosophy and modern science, showing that they are two sides of the same coin. This small corroded device connects us directly to the mind of someone who lived over 2,000 years ago, someone who looked up at the same sun, moon, and stars that we see today, and asked the same fundamental questions. What is our place in the universe? And how does it all work? The mechanism is their beautiful, intricate, and timeless answer.